Which expression represents the surface area of the prism? Find the surface area when x is 9 and 4/10. So if you think about it, we have we have a base. So I'm going to outline the base, which is 18 and 8/10 by 22 and 2/10. Because my pencil, or this blue, goes across that surface. So since that figure, the base is a rectangle, and the dimensions are 18 and 8/10 by 28 and 2/10, I can use base times height to find how many square units this figure enclosed. And it looks like it's going to be 500. Well, I have to substitute these two numbers into my expression. So base times height is going to give me the amount of square units, and I'm going to substitute 18 and 8/10 into this formula, and then 28 and 2/10 for the base and the height. And once you multiply that, you'll end up with 530 and 1600 units squared. So I can already eliminate this one, and I can eliminate this one, because this is not the area of the base. And then I need to find the area of the area of the bottom base is 530. The area of the top base is also 530 because they have the same length and width. If I outline it, I'm going across 18 and 8/10, and then across 28 and 2/10 because it's parallel to this one. Now I want to find the area of the left and right face. So if I outline, I'm going to outline in yellow. If I outline this right here, I have x, so my pen is going across x, so that has to be the base or the height. And then I have 18, because this part is parallel to 18 and 8/10, this must be 18 and 8/10 as well. And since these two sides, the left and the right face, have the exact same base, 18 and 8/10, and the exact same height, x, I know that the area of both the left and right face is going to be exactly the same. So the left and right face is going to have an area, since the shape is a rectangle, I need to use base times height. And then I need to put my dimensions in. 18 and 8/10 is going to be the base, and the height is going to be x. So the left and right face is going to have an area of 18 and 8/10 times x, whatever x may be. We know what x is, but that's beside the point. So I have 18 and 8/10 times x right here. That tells me I need to eliminate this. 18 and 8/10 is only one length. 18 and 8/10 is one dimensional because it's one line. You have to multiply it by another quantity to get the area, which is that, and that other quantity is x. So if you just have 18 and 8/10, that's only the length of the left and right face. And you need to multiply length times width, or base times height, to get the area of the figure. Now we need to do the front and the back face. So let's see how we get the area of the front and back face. Let's use purple. So the shape of the left and right face is a rectangle. So I know I need to use base times height, because that's going to tell me how many square units are in the rectangle. And since I'm doing the front and the back face, I'm going to outline the face. So I'm going across x, because that's parallel to this, and I'm going across 28 and 8/10. So the base is 28 and 8/10, and the height is x. So I know my base is going to be 28 and 2/10, and my height is going to be x, because that's the numbers that those are the dimensions that I have to use to find my area. How many square units inside of this, right? So I can multiply 28 and 2/10 times x to get 28 and 2/10 times x. It stays the same. So the area of my front and back face is going to be 28 and 2/10 times x, whatever x may be. So that is this right here. So this is my front face. Well, this is my left and right face once. My base once. Well, my left and right, my front and back, and then this is my base. Now I only had the area of those once, but since I have two of each one, I have to multiply it by 2. This is just one way to do it, or you could have multiplied it by 2 here. So multiplied it by 2 here, multiplied it by 2 here. It really doesn't matter. You're still going to get the same answer. So I know that the correct solution to this one is going to be C. Now I want to use that to find the surface area. So this says that x, the value of x is 9 4/10. So I'm going to use my formula. So 2 times 18 8/10 times x plus 28, and I'm taking this from here, 28 2/10 times x plus 530 1600ths. And then I have to substitute 9 4/10 into this expression for x, because it says x is equivalent to that value. So I'm going to write 18 8/10 times the value of x, 9 4/10, plus 28 2/10 times x, and x is 9 4/10. So I'm just substituting the value of x into the into the expression for x. And since this 28 2/10 times x, I'm just going to say 28 2/10 times 9 4/10. So I'm right here. Plus the base, which is 530 1600ths. So now I'm ready to multiply. If I want to figure out the area, I have to multiply two-dimensional. Area is two-dimensional. So it'll be 18 8/10 times 9 4/10. And that's going to be equivalent to 176 and 7200ths. And then I have to find how much space my front and back lateral face is taking up. So I can multiply 28 2/10 times 9 4/10. Then I end up with 265 8/10. And then I need to add 530 16/10 to that. So once I add, so I'm going to use, next come in the order operations, addition and subtraction from left to right. So I had to multiply, and I can keep this in parentheses, keep that, bringing my 2 down, because I have to eventually multiply by 2. So now I have 265 8/10 plus 176 and 7200ths, and I end up with 441 8/10 plus 530 1600ths, and I have to multiply that by 2 to get the final surface area at the end. So plus 530 1600ths, and I'm going to have 971 9600ths, and I have to multiply that by 2 to get the surface area, because I have 2 of each face. So this is the area of the front face, left face, bottom face, and I now have to multiply by 2 because I have 2 of those. So times 2, and that's going to give me my area, which is 3,887 and 84 square units. So I'm going to put that in, and that's going to be my answer right there. So 3,887 and 84 hundredths square units. I knew that was wrong. 3,800. So I have, so when you multiply by 2, so this, when you multiply by 2, you actually don't end up with this value. You end up with 1,943 and 9,200. That answer that I put in is unreasonable. I multiplied by 3. So you have to make sure you put the right numbers in. So once we multiply by 2, we end up with 1,943 and 9,200ths, and that is the correct answer. So make sure you multiply by the right number. So our answer should have been around 2,000, because this is around 1,000, and 1,000 times 2 is 2,000. So that answer was unreasonable. All right, let's move on to another question.
volume. So we're going to do number 10, or this question right here, 14.5.6, where we have to find the volume of the rectangular block. So volume is three-dimensional. So if you have 3 dimensions, they have the same units of measurement, you can find the volume. So volume is equivalent to length times width times height. So I'm going to substitute, it's 2 by 1 and 1/2 by 1/2. So in order to multiply fractions, you have to turn them into improper fractions. So I'm going to change all of my numbers into fractions. So I'm going to have 2 over 1 times 3 over 2 times 1/2. For my numerator, I multiply 2 times 3 times 1, and that's going to be equivalent to 6 for my numerator. And then for the denominator, I have 1 times 2 times 2, which is 4. And then once you change that or you can simplify it and then divide. Standard long division, drop the top number in. 6 divided by 4, you'll end up with 1 and 2/4. And you have to simplify 1 and 2/4. Since 2/4 is not the simplest form, we can simplify our fraction by dividing by the greatest common factor, which will be equivalent to 1 and 1/2. So that will be the volume of this rectangular prism. You have to turn the mixed numbers into improper fractions to multiply them and divide them. So we have 1 and 1/2, and you have to simplify. If you don't simplify, you will get the question wrong. You always simplify fractions. Now this one is the same, similar. So we have the volume of the rectangular prism. Same thing. Can the prism? So if the prism have the exact same dimensions, then of course they will have the same volume, because that's how many cubic units you can fit inside of the figure. If any figure have the same exact dimensions and they're the same shape, they're going to have the same volume. So volume is equivalent to length times width times height. Well, that's the formula to find the volume, to see how many unit cubes you can pack inside of here. So we have 6 7/10 yards times 6 3/10 yards times 13 4/10 yards. And you have to evaluate using the order operation. So we have multiplication. So we're going to multiply 6 7/10 times 3 and times 6 3/10 to get 42 and 21/100 yards squared. Now that's the reasonable answer, because we have 6 as our whole number here, which rounds to about 7. And then we have 6 here. So 7 times 6 is about 42. So this is a reasonable answer. And then I need to multiply that, bring down everything I didn't use. So 13 and 4/10 yards. So now I have to multiply 42 and 21/100 times 13 and 4/10, and I end up with 565 and 614 yards cubed. Volume is always going to be to the third power, because volume is a three-dimensional quantity. What does three-dimensional mean? That means it has a length, it has a width, and it has a height. And once you multiply the same unit of measurement 3 times, that means the base is a repeat factor, the units, and that's how you end up with that three-dimensional, that third power. And that's it for this one. And this is the same kind of concept. So the first thing we want to do for this question is find the volume. So volume means how many cubic units you can pack inside of this figure. So I'm going to find the volume, which is a three-dimensional quantity. So volume is going to be equivalent to length times width times height. So I'm going to write my dimensions in: 4 by 3 by 9 inches. And it's going to be inches squared. So I have 4 times 3, which is 12. And then I have to bring down everything that I didn't use, which is this multiplication sign and this 9. And then I have to multiply 12 times 9, which is 108. And since I have inches times inches times inches, that's going to be inches to the third power. So that's how I end up with volume. How many cubic units? Cubic is to the third power. So I have my volume, which is 108 cubic units. And then I need to see the surface area. So now I want to find the surface area. So surface area is the area of the surfaces. So I'm going to first draw a neck. So my base, I'm going to outline the base. The dimensions of my base is 4 by 3. So I know the base is going to have an area of 12. And if the bottom base and the top base have the exact same dimensions, the top base is going to have the same exact area. I'm going to go ahead and draw a net first. So this is my base, 3 by 4. And then I'm going to draw a lateral face connected to that. And my lateral face that I wrote is going to be 3. If this is 3, this must be 3. 3 by 9. So that means that this is the left face, the right face. So 3 by 9. So I'm going to put this yellow. 3 by 9. And then I need to draw my other base connected to that, and this base is going to have the exact same area with the same dimensions, 3 by 4. And then I need to draw my lateral face. So I'm going to draw my front face. The dimensions of the front face is 4 because my green is going across 4, and the height is going to be 9 because it's parallel to this. So 4 by 9. So I'm going to draw that right here. Let me use a different color. So this is going to be 4 by 9. So 4. So if this is 9, this must be 9 as well because they're parallel to each other, and this is 4. This is also 4 because it connects to that. Then I'm going to draw another one over here. If this part, when I fold it up to make my three-dimensional figure, connects to this part, they must have the same exact length because they have to connect perfectly. And it all going across, we have a bunch of 9s. Now this is only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 face. I'm missing one of my face, and that is my left face, which have the same dimensions of the right face, which is 3 by 9. So I'm going to draw my other one right here, and those dimensions will be 3 by 9. Notice that this 3 is going to connect to this 3, because when I fold it up perfectly, fold this forward, fold this over twice, is going to connect to this part right here. Now I'm ready, so these two will have the same surface area. Now I'm going to find the surface area of the figure. So my base has an area, so the base is right here. The base is a rectangle because the sides are not equivalent, so I'm going to use base times height, and that's going to be 4 by 3, which is equivalent to 12. Now this is the area of one base. And then I have a left and a right face that have the same area. So I'm going to do a right face, base times height, and the dimensions of that is going to be 3 by 9. So 9 times 3, and that's going to be 36. And then I have my front and back, so I'm just going to do the front face. That's a rectangle. So here's my front face right here. And the dimensions are going to be 4 by 9, so base times height. And I'm going to put 4 by 9 here. 9 times 3 is not, this is 36. This is 27. Now I'm ready to, okay, anyway. So 9 times 3 is 27. And then 4 times 9 is 36. So I can write these dimensions in. So if this has an area of 12, that means this one has an area of 12 because they have the same base and height, same shape. They're taking up the same amount of space. And then I have my left and right, which is 3 by 9. 3 by 9, that's going to take up 27 square units. So if this is 27, this has to be 27 as well. And then I have my front and back face, which is 36, taking up 36 square units. So 36 and 36. Now that I have the area of the surfaces, I can find the surface area by adding up all of my numbers, 36 plus 36 plus 27 plus 27 plus 12 plus 12. And so I have 72, 36 plus 36 is 72. And then I have 27 plus 27 That's going to be equivalent to 54, and I still need to keep adding. So 72 plus 54 plus 24 is going to give me 150 as my surface area, inches squared. So once I add up all of my face, so this is the 36 is going to be the front and back face. 27 and 27 is going to be the left and right lateral face. And then this is going to be my top and bottom base. And once I add up all the area of the surfaces, that is my answer. So you can also do it this way, like we did in a previous problem. So we can add 12 plus 27 plus 36 to get 75. And then, since we have 2 of each one of these, we can multiply that by 2 to end up with the same exact answer, which is 150. You could also multiply these by 2 and you still get the same answer. So this is going to be 150 inches squared, the surface area of this figure.